In the heart of a civilization sculpted by the sun and the Nile, one symbol reigned supreme, a testament to power and divine right, the lion. But what if its roar was not merely a sound that echoed across the desert, but a sacred vibration, a spiritual force that shielded the very essence of ancient Egypt? Part 1. The Mythical Beginning. Birth of the Lion Symbol. 1.1. The Call of the Desert. Long before the first pharaoh wore a crown, before the first stone of a pyramid was laid, there was the desert. It was a vast, unforgiving expanse of shimmering heat and profound silence, a domain that both gave life and mercilessly took it away. This was the primordial landscape of ancient Egypt, a realm of stark duality. The fertile, life-giving ribbon of the Nile was a promise of eternity, but just beyond its banks lay the boundless ochre wilderness, the ***, or Red Land. This was a place of chaos, of danger, and of powerful, untamed spirits. And it was here, amidst the endless dunes and rocky outcrops, that the mightiest of all creatures roamed, the lion. To the early Egyptians, the lion was not just an animal. It was the physical embodiment of the desert's untamable soul. They watched in awe as it commanded its territory with a ferocious grace, its muscular form a perfect fusion of strength and lethal elegance. Its sun-colored coat seemed to absorb the very light of the sky, and its earth-shaking roar was the voice of nature's raw, unfiltered power. In a world where survival depended on understanding and respecting the forces of nature, the lion was the ultimate symbol of strength, courage, and dominion. It represented the ferocity needed to conquer the chaotic forces that lurked just beyond the structured world of human civilization. The lion did not simply live in the desert. It was the desert. Its presence was a constant reminder that power was not just a human concept, but a divine attribute, a force to be feared, revered, and, if possible, harnessed. This powerful beast, born from the fire of the sands, would soon be called upon to serve a higher, more sacred purpose. 1.2 The sun god Re, and the sacred beast, as the pantheon of Egyptian gods began to take shape. The formidable attributes of the lion were inevitably woven into the fabric of the divine. The most powerful deity, the creator of all life and the very source of light, was the sun god Re. Each day, Re sailed his solar bark across the sky, bringing warmth and life to the world. But each night he had to journey through the underworld, a perilous realm of darkness and monstrous entities. Most notably the serpent demon Apep, the embodiment of chaos who sought to devour the sun and plunge the world into eternal darkness. To face such a formidable foe, Ra needed a protector of unparalleled ferocity, a champion whose power could match the forces of oblivion. He found this champion in the lion. In this cosmic drama, the lion became the earthly manifestation of Ra's righteous fury. The goddess Sekhmet, the powerful one, was born from the fire in Ra's eye. With the head of a lioness and the body of a woman, she was the fierce protector of the sun god, a warrior deity whose breath was the hot desert wind and whose rage could unleash plagues and destruction upon the enemies of divine order. She was the lion's roar given divine form, a force of nature tasked with maintaining cosmic balance. But the connection was not limited to female deities. Ra himself was often depicted as a lion or with a lion's head, particularly in his form as Ra-Horekti, symbolizing his dominion and kingly authority as he journeyed across the horizon. The lion was thus elevated from a mere terrestrial predator to a celestial guardian, its spirit intertwined with the sun itself. Its ferocity was no longer just for hunting prey. It was now the sacred weapon that ensured the sun would rise each morning, protecting creation from the encroaching shadows of chaos. The lion had become the sacred beast of the sun god, its destiny forever linked to the eternal cycle of light and life. Now, let's talk about something truly fascinating, the dual nature of the lion in ancient Egyptian thought. It wasn't just a simple symbol of strength. The Egyptians saw something much deeper, a profound duality. On one hand, you have the lioness as a tender, nurturing mother, fiercely protective of her cubs. This image resonated with the idea of a guardian, a divine protector watching over the pharaoh and the sacred temples. Think of the goddess Bastet, often depicted as a lioness or a cat, who was a protector of the home, women, and children. She represented the gentle, benevolent side of this powerful creature. But then there's the other side. The explosive, terrifying ferocity of a lion on the hunt. This wasn't seen as pure evil, but as a necessary, destructive force of nature, a power that could be unleashed upon Egypt's enemies. This raw power was the embodiment of divine wrath, a tool to maintain cosmic order by eliminating chaos. This aspect is most famously personified by the goddess Sekhmet, the powerful one. Her story is incredible. Born from the fiery eye of the sun god Ra, she was sent to punish humanity for their disobedience. Her rampage was so destructive that the gods had to trick her into drinking beer dyed red, to look like blood, just to stop her from wiping out all of mankind. This is the brilliant complexity of the Egyptian worldview. The lion was both a creator and a destroyer, a guardian and an executioner. It was a living paradox. And this is why we can say that in the lion's eyes, the ancients saw not an animal, but the balance of chaos and order, Mat itself. Mat was the concept of truth, balance, order, and justice. The lion, in its capacity for both gentle protection and terrifying destruction, was the perfect physical manifestation of this cosmic principle. It showed that to maintain order, sometimes a destructive force was necessary. To have peace, you must also have the power to defend it fiercely and absolutely. This dual nature is crucial to understanding why the lion became such a central figure. It wasn't just about physical might. It was about the philosophical and spiritual balance of the universe. The pharaoh, as the earthly representative of the gods, needed to embody both aspects. He had to be a nurturing father to his people, but also a ferocious warrior against his enemies. By associating with the lion, he was claiming mastery over these two fundamental forces of existence. This brings us to the very heart of our story, how this powerful symbolism was carved into stone and belief, creating eternal guardians for the land of the Nile. We'll see how the pharaohs harnessed this lion power, not just in their titles, but in the very architecture and statuary that would define their legacy and ensure their journey into the afterlife. The lion wasn't just a symbol. It was a key to immortality. Think about the Great Sphinx of Giza. It has the body of a lion and the head of a king. It's the ultimate fusion of royal intelligence and leonine power, a guardian standing watch for eternity. This wasn't a one-off idea. Throughout Egyptian history, we see this theme repeated, refined, and amplified. From sphinx lining the processional ways to temples, to lion-headed gods and goddesses receiving worship within, the spirit of the lion was everywhere. It was a constant reminder to the Egyptian people of the power that protected them and the cosmic order that governed their lives. And for their enemies, it was a clear and terrifying warning. To challenge Egypt was to challenge the fury of the lion itself. The awe that a real lion inspired was channeled directly into the reverence for the pharaoh and the gods. When you looked upon a statue of a lion guarding a temple, you weren't just seeing a sculpture of an animal. You were feeling the presence of a divine, watchful energy, a power that had existed since the dawn of time. This duality also played a significant role in their mythology of the sun. The sun's journey was a daily battle. In the morning it was the gentle, life-giving Khepri, the scarab beetle. But as it reached its zenith, its scorching heat became the power of Ra, often associated with the lion's ferocity. And as it set, it had to journey through the dangerous underworld, fighting off the serpent of chaos. Apep, the lion's strength was seen as essential for the sun's successful journey, ensuring that a new day would dawn. So the lion wasn't just a guardian of earthly realms, but a protector of the entire cosmic cycle. The more you look, the more you see this beautiful, complex relationship. It's a dance between light and shadow, creation and destruction, protection and aggression. And it all comes together in the majestic form of the lion. It's no wonder that this creature, more than any other, was chosen to stand as an eternal guardian for the pharaohs and their sacred spaces. It was the perfect symbol for a civilization that sought to build an eternal legacy in a world of constant change. As we move forward, we'll explore specific examples of these lion guardians. We'll look at the avenue of Sphinx, the fierce goddesses, and the hidden lion symbols in the pharaohs' tombs. We'll uncover how the Egyptians didn't just admire the lion. They sought to become it, to integrate its spirit into the very fabric of their society and their quest for eternal life. This is where the story gets really good, as we see how belief becomes reality, carved in stone for millennia. Thank you so much for watching. This is the story of the lion and the pharaohs, the divine kings. Imagine the grand throne room of a new kingdom pharaoh. Gold glitters from every surface, incense hangs heavy in the air, and at the center of it all sits the king. But look closer at his seat of power. It's not just a chair, it's a statement. The legs and arms of the pharaoh's throne were often masterfully carved into the likeness of powerful lions. These weren't mere decorations. The lion throne was a physical manifestation of the pharaoh's right to rule. By sitting upon these lion figures, the king was declaring his unbreakable connection to the divine, his authority granted by the gods themselves. The lion, a solar creature, reinforced the pharaoh's lineage as a son of Ra, the sun god. He wasn't just a ruler. He was the conduit of cosmic order, seated on a throne of raw, untamable power. This symbolism was so potent that it became an integral part of the royal identity. The famous Tutankhamun had ceremonial chairs and a gilded bed, all featuring magnificent lion heads and paws. When the pharaoh sat on his lion throne, he wasn't just resting. He was occupying the nexus of heaven and earth, protected and empowered by the greatest predator of the natural world. This was the ultimate power move, a visual declaration to all who entered his presence. I am the master of this domain, and my authority is as fierce and unquestionable as the lions. But the pharaohs didn't just sit on lions. They became them. The king was often referred to by the epic title, the Lion of Egypt. This wasn't just a flattering nickname. It was his job description. As the supreme protector of the two lands, the pharaoh was expected to embody the lion's courage, strength, and ferocity, especially in his duty to defend Egypt from its enemies. He was the guardian at the gate, the watchful predator ready to spring upon any threat to the stability and prosperity of his kingdom. This powerful metaphor comes roaring to life in the war inscriptions and reliefs that cover temple walls. When a pharaoh like Ramesses the Great charged into battle, the scribes didn't just say he fought bravely. They described him as a furious lion descending upon a flock of sheep. You can almost feel the ground tremble as you read these ancient accounts. They speak of the pharaoh, raging like a lion, his eyes burning with divine fire, his war chariot thundering across the battlefield like a predator in pursuit. His enemies weren't just defeated. They were scattered, terrified by the divine beast in human form. These depictions were crucial propaganda. They sent a clear message to foreign powers and to the Egyptian people themselves. Our king is no mere mortal. He is a living lion, a force of nature. When he attacks, he is unstoppable. When he protects, he is invincible. The pharaoh wasn't just leading an army. He was unleashing a primal force, sanctioned by the gods to maintain cosmic order, or Mat. The fear he inspired in his enemies was a tool of statecraft, a way to ensure peace through the promise of overwhelming power. There's a powerful line that captures this perfectly. Echoing through the halls of history, when the pharaoh struck his enemies, it was said, "The roar of a lion shook the sands of eternity." This isn't just poetry. It's the core belief of an entire civilization. The pharaoh's actions had cosmic significance. His battle cry wasn't just the shout of a man, but the roar of the divine lion, a sound that transcended the immediate conflict and resonated through time itself. It affirmed his role as the ultimate guardian, whose power was as timeless and enduring as the desert sands. From the throne room to the battlefield, the pharaoh's identity was inextricably linked with the lion. He ruled from a lion throne, was called the Lion of Egypt, and fought with the fury of a lion in battle. This powerful fusion of man and beast elevated the king beyond the mortal realm, transforming him into a symbol of absolute power and divine protection. The lion wasn't just an animal he admired. It was the very essence of his divine kingship. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the heart of ancient Egypt. The story of the lion is far from over. In our next episode, we will walk among the silent guardians of the temples and tombs, exploring the Sphinx and lion statues that stand as eternal sentinels. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next chapter. We love hearing from you, so leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever wondered why the ancient Egyptians revered lions so deeply? It wasn't just about their physical power. For them, the lion was a symbol of divine might, a guardian of cosmic order, and a protector of pharaohs and sacred temples. Today, we journey back in time to uncover the stories of these majestic lion spirits, the true guardians of eternity. Imagine the blistering sun of the Egyptian desert. The gods are enraged by humanity's rebellion. The great sun god, Rhea, in his fury, plucks out his own eye. This divine eye transforms, taking the form of a terrifying and powerful being, Sekhmet, the lioness goddess. Her name itself means the powerful one, and she was born for a single purpose: to unleash divine retribution upon the disrespectful mortals. Sekhmet descended upon the land not as a gentle guardian, but as a whirlwind of destruction. Her breath was the scorching desert wind. Her roar shook the very foundations of the earth, and her presence was a consuming fire. She was the embodiment of divine wrath, a force of nature so immense that she nearly wiped out all of humanity. Legends say she stalked the Nile Valley, her lioness form wreathed in flames, her heart filled with a bloodlust that could not be quenched. She was the goddess of war, of plague, and of pestilence, the ultimate personification of the destructive power of the sun. The people lived in terror, praying that her rampage would cease before nothing was left. The other gods watched in horror. Ra had intended to punish humanity, not annihilate it. But Sekhmet, his own creation, was out of control. Her fury was a wildfire that threatened to consume the entire world. A plan was hatched. The gods brewed a massive quantity of beer, dyeing it red with pomegranate juice to resemble blood. They poured this mixture across the fields where Sekhmet was expected to continue her massacre. Thirsty from her rampage and drawn by the color, Sekhmet began to drink. She drank and drank until she became so intoxicated that she fell into a deep, peaceful slumber. When she awoke, her insatiable rage was gone. The world was saved, but the memory of her power was seared into the consciousness of Egypt forever. This dramatic tale wasn't just a myth. It was the foundation for real-world rituals and festivals designed to appease the mighty goddess. The Egyptians understood that the power that could destroy could also protect. To keep her destructive side at bay and harness her protective qualities, they held elaborate ceremonies. The Festival of Intoxication was one of the most important, where people would drink, dance, and sing, reenacting the myth of her pacification. They would offer prayers and sacrifices at her temples, which were often staffed by specialized priests who knew the sacred rites to calm her spirit. These priests were seen as doctors of a sort, as Sekhmet, when appeased, was also believed to be a powerful goddess of healing, capable of warding off the very plagues she could unleash. By honoring her, the Egyptians sought to transform her fury into a shield, turning the lioness of war into a guardian of health and life. From this raw, untamed power of Sekhmet, we begin to see a fascinating evolution in Egyptian thought. The story of her calming isn't just about tricking a goddess with beer. It's a profound metaphor for a core principle of their worldview. It represents the transition from chaos to order, from uncontrolled force to harnessed strength. The Egyptians recognized that raw power, like a wildfire, is dangerous. But when that same power is guided by wisdom, compassion, and control, it becomes something else entirely: a protective, life-giving force. This is the divine mastery of force through wisdom. Think of it like taming a wild lion. The goal isn't to break its spirit but to understand it, to respect its power, and to guide it towards a constructive purpose. The pharaohs themselves were meant to embody this principle. They were often depicted alongside lions or with lion attributes, not just to show their might, but to signify their ability to rule with both strength and justice. A true ruler wasn't someone who simply dominated, but someone who could wield their authority with the wisdom of the gods, protecting their people and maintaining the cosmic balance of truth, order, and harmony. This concept of controlled strength is woven throughout Egyptian mythology and art. We see it in the Sphinx, a creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human, symbolizing the fusion of primal power with divine intellect. We see it in the way temples were designed with statues of lion-headed deities standing guard at the gates, not just to intimidate but to act as divine gatekeepers, separating the sacred from the profane and protecting the sanctity within. They were reminders that true divinity isn't just about having power, but about knowing how and when to use it. This delicate balance between power and compassion, between destructive potential and protective reality, is the very essence of the lion spirit in ancient Egypt. It is the wisdom that transforms a fearsome predator into a guardian of eternity. The legacy of these lion spirits is etched into the very stones of Egypt. From the colossal Sphinx guarding the Giza Plateau to the countless statues of Sekhmet found in the temples of Karnak, their presence is a constant reminder of the dual nature of power. They teach us that strength without wisdom is chaos, but strength guided by purpose can protect civilizations for millennia. Have you ever stood before the ruins of an ancient Egyptian temple and felt a sense of awe, a feeling that you're in a sacred space, protected by unseen forces? You're not just imagining it. The ancient Egyptians designed their temples to evoke that very feeling, and a key element of that design was the mighty lion. As you approach these colossal structures, you'd almost always find imposing stone lions standing guard at the entrances. These weren't just decorative statues. They were powerful divine sentinels. In the Egyptian worldview, the world was a constant struggle between order, known as Ma'at, and chaos, or Isfet. These lion guardians were the first line of defense, physically and spiritually, against the forces of chaos and evil that lurked in the outside world. Their powerful stance and fierce gaze were meant to ward off any malevolent spirits or negative energies that dared to approach the holy ground. They were the ultimate bouncers of the sacred, ensuring that only the pure of heart could enter the domain of the gods. Think of the avenue of Sphinx at Karnak or Luxor. Rows of these powerful beings guiding your path, creating a corridor of divine protection. Every step you took towards the temple's inner sanctum was a step under their watchful, protective eyes. But the lion's role as a guardian went beyond just protecting physical space. The Egyptians believed they also guarded something far more abstract and profound: time itself. This is where we encounter one of the most fascinating and poetic concepts in their mythology, the Aker, or the twin lions of the horizon. Imagine a carving or a painting of two majestic lions sitting back to back. One lion faces east, towards the rising sun, and the other faces west, towards the setting sun. They are often depicted with the sun disk hovering right between their backs, nestled in the valley created by their powerful forms. These aren't just any two lions, they have names. The lion looking west, towards the sunset, is called Seth, which means yesterday. The one looking east, towards the dawn, is named Duej, meaning tomorrow. Together, they represent the entire spectrum of time. Seth, or yesterday, gazes upon the world of the past, the realm of the dead where the sun god Re journeys through the underworld each night. Duej, or tomorrow, looks forward to the dawn, to the sun's glorious rebirth and the beginning of a new day. The space between them, the right now, is the present moment, the point where past and future meet. The twin lions of the horizon guarded time itself, the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. By controlling the points of sunrise and sunset, they effectively controlled the gateway between the underworld and the world of the living, ensuring the sun could safely complete its nightly journey and rise again each morning. This powerful image symbolized the eternal nature of the universe and the cyclical rhythm of life, death and resurrection that was so central to Egyptian belief. So, when you see a lion in Egyptian art, remember it's more than just a depiction of a powerful animal. It's a guardian of the sacred, a protector against chaos, and a keeper of the very fabric of time. From the temple gates to the horizons of yesterday and tomorrow, the spirit of the lion ensured the stability and endurance of the Egyptian cosmos. They were truly the guardians of eternity. Have you ever stood before a truly ancient monument and felt a shiver run down your spine? A sense that you're in the presence of something far older and wiser than yourself? That's the feeling the Great Sphinx of Giza has inspired for millennia. It's more than just a colossal statue. It's an enigma carved from the very bedrock of Egypt, a guardian of secrets we are still trying to unravel. Today, we're journeying back in time, not just to look at these incredible lion-bodied guardians, but to understand what they truly meant to the ancient Egyptians. We will decode the silent language of their forms and discover how these powerful beings were believed to protect the very fabric of the cosmos. So let's begin with the most famous guardian of all, the Great Sphinx. This monumental figure, with the body of a lion and the head of a human, is the ultimate symbol of a powerful fusion. The lion's body represents raw, untamable physical strength, the power of nature, and the ferocity needed to protect the sacred lands. But combined with the human head, it becomes something more. The serene, thoughtful face, widely believed to be that of Pharaoh Khafre, embodies human intellect, wisdom, and divine authority. Think about it, it's the perfect combination for a king. Not just brute force, but the intelligence to wield it wisely. The Sphinx isn't just a monster. It's a representation of the ideal ruler, one who has mastered both the physical and mental realms. This powerful synthesis made the Sphinx the ultimate guardian, a being capable of defending against any threat, seen or unseen. But its role goes even deeper. The Sphinx is strategically positioned on the Giza Plateau, gazing directly east, facing the rising sun. This isn't a coincidence. For the ancient Egyptians, the sun god Ra was the most powerful deity, the source of all life. Each morning, as the sun's first rays touched the Sphinx's face, it was a sacred moment. The Sphinx was seen as Horam Akhet, or Horus in the horizon, a manifestation of the sun god at the moments of sunrise and sunset. This daily ritual reinforced the Sphinx's connection to the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. It wasn't just guarding a physical place. It was guarding a celestial event. It stood at the threshold, the magical point where night becomes day, where the world of the living meets the divine. The Sphinx was, in essence, the gatekeeper between our world and the afterlife, ensuring the sun could safely make its journey and be reborn each morning, guaranteeing the continuation of all life. Imagine the awe the ancient Egyptians must have felt, watching this daily cosmic drama unfold with their great lion man at its center. This brings us to a fascinating and often overlooked aspect of these ancient guardians: the hidden language of their design. The creation of a sacred statue like the Sphinx or the avenue of lion guardians leading to a temple was just an artistic endeavor. It was a mathematical and spiritual one, deeply rooted in the principles of sacred geometry. The proportions of these statues were meticulously calculated. The length of the body, the height of the head, the angle of the gaze, every detail was intentional. These proportions weren't just about making the statue look good. They were believed to mirror the fundamental harmonies of the universe. The ancient Egyptians saw the cosmos as an ordered, logical place, and by replicating its geometric principles in their art and architecture, they could bring that cosmic harmony down to earth. This is where the concept of Mat comes in. Mat was the ancient Egyptian goddess who personified truth, balance, order, and justice. She was the cosmic law that kept the universe from descending into chaos. Everything from the flooding of the Nile to the movement of the stars was governed by Mat. The lion, with its regal bearing and powerful presence, became a key symbol of this cosmic order. The rows of identical lion statues lining the path to a temple weren't just decoration. They were a physical representation of Mat. Their perfect symmetry and repetitive forms created a visual rhythm, a corridor of stability and divine order that a visitor would walk through. As you moved between these stone guardians, you were symbolically leaving the chaos of the outside world and entering a sacred space where Mat reigned supreme. The lions were there to enforce that order, to ensure that only those who were pure of heart and respectful of the divine law could proceed. They were the muscle behind Maat, the physical enforcers of a cosmic principle. Their unwavering, stony gazes served as a constant reminder that the universe was a place of structure and purpose, and that these sacred sites were its earthly anchor. So, when you see an Egyptian lion statue, don't just see a beautiful work of art. See a guardian of the sun. See a gatekeeper between worlds. See a symbol of the perfect balance between strength and intellect. And see a powerful embodiment of the cosmic order that held the ancient Egyptian universe together. These aren't just statues. They are eternal protectors, their silent roars still echoing through the corridors of time. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the heart of ancient Egypt. Have you ever wondered what happens after we pass from this world? For the ancient Egyptians, the journey wasn't an end, but a perilous passage through the underworld, known as the Duat. And who stood guard at the gates of this mysterious realm? None other than the mighty lion. Imagine, for a moment, the soul of a pharaoh or a commoner, standing before massive, imposing gates, not made of stone or gold, but of living, breathing divine lions. These weren't just symbolic statues. They were cosmic sentinels, beings of immense power tasked with protecting the path to eternity. The journey through the Duat was a series of tests, a spiritual gauntlet. The soul had to navigate 12 gates or pylons, each one guarded by a fearsome deity, often with the head or body of a lion. These guardians weren't mindless beasts. They were intelligent, discerning keepers of cosmic law. To pass, the deceased had to know the guardian's secret name and recite specific powerful spells. It was the ultimate test of a person's spiritual knowledge and the purity of their heart. Getting a name wrong or faltering in the incantation meant annihilation, to be devoured and cease to exist forever. The famous Book of the Dead, a collection of spells intended as a guidebook for the afterlife, meticulously names many of these lion-headed guardians. Names like He Who Lives on Snakes or He Whose Eyes Are of Fire give us a chilling glimpse into the nature of these gatekeepers. They were manifestations of the challenges one must overcome: fear, ignorance, and earthly attachment. The lion, a creature of the day, standing guard in the eternal night of the Duat, represented the enduring power of light, an order against the forces of chaos that threatened to consume the soul. These weren't just monsters. They were divine bouncers at the VIP Club of Eternity, ensuring only the worthy could enter. But the lion's role went far beyond just being a gatekeeper. It was also intrinsically linked to the very concept of judgment. Think about the most distinctive feature of a lion: its roar. To the Egyptians, that thunderous sound was not just a display of physical power, it was a metaphysical event. The roar was believed to be the sound of truth itself, a vibration that could shatter deception and expose the soul for what it truly was. An ancient text beautifully captures this idea. Before the soul may enter eternity, it must pass through the roar, the sound that purifies all illusion. Imagine the soul, stripped of all its worldly titles and possessions, standing in the Hall of Two Truths for the final judgment. As the heart is weighed against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice, the air trembles. A deep, resonant roar fills the chamber. This wasn't a sound of aggression, but of clarification. It was a spiritual awakening, forcing the soul to confront every action, every thought, every secret from its life on earth. The roar was the ultimate lie detector test. If the soul was pure and the heart light, the roar would be a sound of affirmation, a welcoming chorus into the afterlife. But if the heart was heavy with deceit and wrongdoing, the roar became a terrifying verdict. It would amplify the soul's guilt, shaking it to its core and revealing its unworthiness. The lion's roar, in this context, wasn't a threat of physical harm but a symbol of inescapable truth. It symbolized the moment of absolute clarity, where no illusion or self-deception could survive. The soul had to face itself, completely and honestly, in the face of this divine sound. It was the final purification, the last and most profound test before being granted passage to the eternal paradise of the Field of Reeds. The lion's roar was, quite literally, the sound of the soul's salvation or its damnation. So, as we've seen, the lion's presence in the afterlife was multifaceted and deeply profound. From the terrifying guardians of the Duat's gates to the purifying roar in the Hall of Judgment, the lion was an essential figure in the soul's journey. It embodied the terrifying and awe-inspiring power of the divine, a force that both tested and protected the dead. The lion ensured that the cosmic order, the principle of Maat, was upheld even beyond the realm of the living. It was the ultimate symbol of the transition from the mortal to the divine, a protector who made sure that only the true and the just could achieve immortality. The lion's legacy reminds us that for the ancient Egyptians, the journey to the afterlife was not one to be taken lightly. It required preparation, knowledge, and a life lived in truth. And at every crucial step, the spirit of the lion was there, a majestic and fearsome guide, ensuring the integrity of eternity itself. As the sun sets over the Nile, casting long shadows across the Valley of the Kings, the journey into the afterlife begins for the pharaohs. But they did not travel alone. Ancient Egyptians believed that powerful guardians accompanied their souls, ensuring a safe passage to the eternal fields of Aru. Among the most formidable of these protectors was the lion. When archaeologists first ventured into these sealed tombs, they discovered a world frozen in time, filled with treasures meant to serve the deceased in the next life. And among these precious items, one motif appeared again and again: the lion. Tiny, exquisitely crafted lion-shaped amulets were often found placed upon the mummies. Resting over the heart or throat, these weren't just decorative trinkets. They were potent magical charms, imbued with the lion's strength and courage. The Egyptians believed these amulets would transfer the lion's protective power directly to the soul of the pharaoh, warding off any evil spirits or demons that might lurk in the darkness of the underworld. Imagine the comfort this must have brought. The belief that the fiercest creature of the desert was now your personal bodyguard for eternity. But the lion's role didn't stop with small personal charms. As you walk through the corridors of these ancient tombs, you'll see them come to life on the walls. Majestic lions are painted and carved into the stone, their powerful forms striding alongside the pharaoh's procession. In the famous Book of the Dead, a collection of spells to help navigate the afterlife, lions are often depicted. One of the most fascinating is the double lion god Aker. Aker consisted of two lions sitting back to back, one facing the sunset yesterday and the other facing the sunrise tomorrow. The sun god Rhea was believed to pass safely through the underworld between them each night. By painting Aker on tomb walls, The Egyptians invoked this same safe passage for the pharaoh's soul, ensuring their journey through the night of death would lead to a glorious dawn. These lions weren't just images. They were active guides, showing the way and defending the path against the chaos that threatened to swallow the soul. They were a GPS for the afterlife, powered by divine feline energy. The lion's connection to the sun and the dawn brings us to one of its most profound roles in Egyptian belief: the fire of rebirth. The afterlife wasn't seen as a final, static destination. It was a cycle, mirroring the daily journey of the sun. Just as the sun died every evening in the west and was reborn every morning in the east, so too was the soul of the deceased. And who was the ultimate symbol of this fiery rebirth? The lion, of course. The lion's golden mane was seen as a direct reflection of the sun's rays. Its roar was like the thunderous announcement of a new day. In funerary rituals, the presence of the lion, whether as an amulet, a statue, or an image, was a powerful symbol of resurrection. It was a promise that the darkness of death was temporary. The lion spirit was the spark, the divine fire that would reignite the soul's life force. Think about it. Every morning, as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the Egyptians saw the lion's promise fulfilled. The sun had returned, victorious over the darkness, just as they believed their loved ones would be. The lion was the living embodiment of the phrase, and then the sun came up. It represented the ultimate triumph of light over darkness, life over death. This connection is beautifully illustrated by goddesses like Sekhmet, the lioness-headed deity. She was known as the Eye of Ra, a fierce protector who could unleash destruction, but who could also heal and protect. Her dual nature perfectly captures this cycle. She represented the scorching, dangerous heat of the midday sun, but also the life-giving warmth that allowed everything to grow. In funerary contexts, invoking Sekhmet was a way to harness this solar power, to burn away the impurities of death and pave the way for a purified, rejuvenated soul to be reborn. The lion, in essence, was the keeper of the eternal flame. It ensured that the pharaoh's spirit wouldn't just rest in peace, but would rise in glory again and again, for all of eternity, just like the morning sun. So the next time you see an ancient Egyptian artifact featuring a lion, remember it's more than just a depiction of a powerful animal. It's a symbol of divine protection, a guide through the treacherous paths of the underworld, and a fiery promise of eternal rebirth. From tiny amulets to grand tomb paintings, the lion was the ultimate guardian of eternity, ensuring that the pharaoh's journey was not an end, but a glorious new beginning. The spirit of the lion guaranteed that for the soul of the pharaoh, the sun would always rise again. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed exploring the secrets of ancient Egypt, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the past. Let me know in the comments which ancient symbol you find most fascinating. Until next time, stay curious. Start of script. Have you ever wondered how an ancient symbol travels across deserts, seas, and centuries to find a new home in completely different cultures? The story of the Egyptian lion spirit is a perfect example of this incredible journey. This isn't just about ancient Egypt. It's about a legacy that echoed through civilizations. The potent image of the lion, a symbol of divine power and royal authority, was too compelling to remain confined within Egypt's borders. As trade routes and cultural exchanges flourished, the lion's roar began to be heard far beyond the Nile Valley. Traders, travelers, and soldiers carried these stories and symbols with them. Look at ancient Greece. When the Greeks encountered Egyptian culture, they were fascinated. They saw the Sphinx, that mesmerizing blend of human intelligence and lion strength, and they adopted it, weaving it into their own mythology, although with a twist. The Greek Sphinx became a mysterious, riddle-posing creature, but the core essence of a powerful, enigmatic guardian remained. They also had their own lion-related myths, like the Nemean lion, a beast of immense power defeated by Heracles. You can see the thematic overlap. The lion as a formidable, almost divine force. Then there's Mesopotamia, a neighboring powerhouse. They had their own rich tradition of lion symbolism, often associating them with royalty and deities like Ishtar, the goddess of war and love. When cultures like Assyria rose to power, their palaces were famously decorated with monumental lion hunt reliefs. This was a clear message. The king is as powerful as the mightiest of beasts. The shared reverence for the lion created a common symbolic language across the ancient Near East, a testament to its universal appeal as a symbol of ultimate power. And let's not forget Ethiopia, a land with deep, ancient ties to Egypt. The connection is so profound that the lion became a central emblem of Ethiopian royalty. The Ethiopian emperors claimed descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, and their imperial title was the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. This connection transformed the lion from a purely pagan symbol into a sacred one within a new religious context. But how does a symbol truly change its identity? Let's look at Sekhmet again. As Egyptian theology evolved, Sekhmet's fierce nature was sometimes softened. She could be seen as Bastet, the gentler cat goddess, representing the protective, nurturing side of the divine feminine. In the Greco-Roman period, she was often identified with goddesses like Artemis or Diana, the huntresses. This shows the incredible adaptability of a symbol. Sekhmet's image wasn't just copied. It was interpreted, reshaped, and given new meaning to fit the values and beliefs of each new culture. The fierce protector could also be a nurturing mother or a wild huntress, all stemming from that same core concept of divine feminine power. This brings us to one of the most enduring legacies of the Egyptian lion, its adoption into Abrahamic faiths. The journey from the temples of Karnak to the pages of the Bible is a fascinating one. In ancient Israel, the lion was a familiar creature of the local landscape and a powerful symbol. The tribe of Judah, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, adopted the lion as its emblem. Why? Because it represented strength, courage, and leadership qualities associated with kingship. When the Bible speaks of the Lion of Judah, it's not just a poetic phrase. It's a title packed with historical and theological weight. In the book of Genesis, the patriarch Jacob blesses his son Judah, prophesying that he is a lion's cub and that the scepter of rule will not depart from him. This cemented the lion as the symbol of the royal lineage from which King David and later, the promised Messiah, would come. For Christianity, this symbolism reaches its peak in the book of Revelation. Here, Jesus is explicitly called the Lion of the tribe of Judah. It's a powerful fusion of ideas. The lion's ancient association with divine power and kingship, inherited from cultures like Egypt, is now fully integrated into a new theological framework. He is both the sacrificial Lamb of God and the triumphant Lion King who brings ultimate justice and victory. The lion, therefore, became a symbol of divine justice, righteous strength, and eternal vigilance. In Christian art throughout the medieval and Renaissance periods, you'll find lions everywhere. They sit at the feet of saints like Saint Mark the Evangelist, whose gospel is said to begin with a voice crying in the wilderness, as powerful as a lion's roar. They guard the entrances of cathedrals, stone sentinels warding off evil, just as their ancestors guarded the temples of the Pharaohs. Think about it. The same creature that represented the fiery eye of Ra and the ferocious power of Sekhmet now represents the divine authority of Christ. It's a symbol of justice, ensuring that good prevails over evil. It's a symbol of strength, not just physical might, but the strength of faith and moral conviction. And it's a symbol of eternal vigilance, the ever-watchful protector who never sleeps. From the sun-baked stones of Egypt to the stained glass windows of Europe and the imperial courts of Ethiopia, the lion spirit has proven to be truly eternal. It's a guardian that has transcended time, faith, and geography, a timeless reminder of the power, protection, and majesty that humanity has always sought in its connection to the divine. This incredible journey shows us that ideas are the most powerful travelers. They cross borders without passports and adapt to new worlds, all while carrying a piece of their original home with them. The Lion of Egypt never truly vanished. It simply learned to speak new languages. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through history. But what if the Lion of Egypt isn't just a relic of the past, carved in stone or painted on tomb walls? What if its spirit is something more profound, something that resides within each of us? Think about it. The courage to face our own deserts, the wisdom to navigate the labyrinth of life, the strength to protect what we hold sacred, our dreams, our loved ones, our very sense of self. This is the lion within. The ancient Egyptians saw this power in the world around them and sought to embody it. They understood that to be a true guardian, you must first awaken the guardian inside your own soul. The pharaohs were not just protected by external lion deities. They were taught to cultivate their own inner lion, to rule with a brave and noble heart. This is the enduring lesson of the lion spirit. It is a universal symbol of the untamed, powerful, and protective force that lies dormant within us, waiting to be awakened. It's the quiet roar in your heart that pushes you to take one more step, to stand firm in your beliefs, to be the king or queen of your own inner kingdom. The Egyptians gave this spirit a face and a name, but its essence is timeless and belongs to all of humanity. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a fiery glow across the Giza Plateau, it illuminates the silent, eternal face of the Great Sphinx. For millennia, this colossal figure, part human, part lion, has kept its vigil. It has watched empires rise and fall, seen the stars shift in the heavens, and felt the desert sands creep and recede. Its gaze is fixed on the east, forever awaiting the dawn, a symbol of rebirth and endless cycles. The Sphinx is more than just a monument. It is the ultimate embodiment of the eternal watcher. It is the guardian at the threshold between the known world and the mysteries of the afterlife, between time and eternity. Its enigmatic smile holds the secrets of ages, a silent testament to the enduring power it represents. The Lion of Egypt never truly died. Its spirit still walks the sands of time, a silent protector at the gates of eternity. It reminds us that while civilizations may crumble and fade, the courage and majesty they revered live on, whispering on the desert wind and watching over the legacy of humanity. If this story awakens something ancient within you, remember, the lion's spirit still watches over us all. Follow our channel for more journeys through lost worlds and sacred myths. Thank you for watching.